She was the only daughter of a man the world feared, a ruthless billionaire with endless power, money, and enemies. But at just 6 years old, she was struck by a rare, unstoppable cancer and handed the cruelest sentence, death. Doctors gave him the words that shattered his empire. "There's nothing more we can do." 3 months. That's all she had left. Billions couldn't buy her a cure. The world's top hospitals failed. The most advanced medicine, useless. For the first time, the man who controlled everything was utterly powerless, and when every door slammed shut, salvation rose from the most unthinkable place. Not from a genius doctor. Not from science. It was someone the world would never expect. The maid who scrubbed their floors in silence. What she secretly risked, without permission, without reward, would shatter the billionaire's pride, break his heart and bring him to his knees, drowning in tears. Because what she did proved something shocking, that real love doesn't always come from blood. It comes from courage. And sometimes the biggest miracles rise from the quietest hearts. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, don't forget to subscribe my channel Black Nation Strength and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing your stories. Sophia was just 6 when her world collapsed. She had been sick often, running fevers, feeling tired, and her father thought it was just a flu. But after endless tests, the truth came out. Sophia had one of the rarest, most aggressive cancers in the world. It was spreading fast. Her father, Daniel Hayes, a billionaire feared in boardrooms but powerless in hospitals, sat frozen as the doctors explained. He threw millions at treatments, chemotherapy, radiation, new therapies, experimental drugs. Each time he clung to a thread of hope. Each time it snapped. Sophia grew weaker, and the walls of the hospital became their prison. Daniel, usually a man of iron, spent his nights sitting by her bed, reading stories, laughing through tears, pretending he wasn't breaking inside. His wife had died giving birth to Sophia, and now the fear of losing his daughter too haunted him like a curse. Sophia had never met her mother. The only glimpse she had was a photo of a glowing woman with her hand on her pregnant belly. Daniel kept that photo on a shelf and told Sophia bedtime stories about the woman she would never meet. Sophia sometimes whispered that she wished she could hug her mom, just once. Daniel's chest would ache every time, but he never let her see the tears. As Sophia's body grew frail, she stopped asking questions. She could barely walk, her tiny body shrinking, but somehow she still smiled when her father cracked jokes or when a nurse brought her a small toy. She was too young to understand death, but old enough to feel it creeping closer. Finally, the doctors delivered the crushing truth. The cancer had spread everywhere. Her body was shutting down. They told Daniel in a cold, sterile room that she had about 3 months left, if they were lucky. Daniel couldn't breathe. 3 months? That was less time than most business deals he signed. He begged for another chance, another option, anything. But the answer was no. That night, as Sophia slept, Daniel sat in the dark, staring at her. No graduation, no wedding, no future, just silence. But the next morning, Sophia asked him one simple question that shattered him in a way the diagnosis never had. "Daddy, can I have a birthday party?" Daniel blinked in disbelief. "A birthday party? Why?" Sophia's eyes sparkled. She wanted balloons, cake, music. She wanted her friends. She wanted to wear a princess dress and dance. Daniel promised her right then it would be the best party ever. The entire hospital rallied behind him. Nurses, teachers, parents, everyone wanted to help. Sophia lit up as she planned her dream day. Purple balloons, a princess crown, her favorite songs. Even though her body was breaking, she glowed at the thought of that one perfect day. But while Daniel fought with money, there was someone else in the mansion fighting with heart. Maya, the maid. She had been hired when Sophia was a newborn, right after Daniel's wife died. At first, Maya was just there to clean and cook, but slowly she became something else. She fed Sophia, rocked her to sleep, sang lullabies, wiped her tears. She didn't clock out when her shift ended. She stayed. She became Sophia's safe place, her mommy number 2. Daniel noticed it, but he never stopped it. He was too broken, too busy, and Maya filled a void that no one else could. Maya carried her own scars. Years ago, she had lost her little sister to sickness because her family couldn't afford treatment. She had sworn to herself that if life ever gave her another chance to protect a child, she would never fail again. Sophia became that chance. Maya was there for every tear, every treatment, every sleepless night. When Sophia screamed from injections, she held her hand. When she felt scared, she didn't call for the nurses. She called for Maya. Drawings. Sophia Maid always had two mothers. The one in the photo she never met, and Maya, the one who never left. The night of Sophia's birthday came. The hospital room transformed with purple streamers, balloons, and cake. Her classmates came with cards and stuffed toys. Music played. Sophia wore a pink princess dress, bald from chemo but glowing with joy. Everyone laughed. Everyone smiled, pretending just for a few hours that nothing was wrong. Maya stayed glued to her side, feeding her tiny bites of cake, wiping frosting off her chin. But then, in the middle of that laughter, Sophia turned to her, her little face deadly serious, and whispered, "Mommy." "Am I going to live?" The room froze. The music felt like it stopped. Nurses, parents, everyone looked away. Daniel, standing at the door, felt his chest collapse. Maya's heart broke into pieces. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to lie. But she couldn't. Not to Sophia. Not to the girl who trusted her more than anyone. Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she forced them back. She held Sophia's hand tight and whispered, "You're the bravest girl I've ever known, and I'll never leave your side." She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. Just love. That night, long after the party ended, long after Sophia fell asleep, Maya lay awake replaying the question, "Am I going to live, Mommy?" It tore her apart. She couldn't do nothing. She wouldn't. So she opened her old laptop and started searching. Treatment after treatment, miracle after miracle, until she stumbled upon something shocking: liver transplants. In rare cases, a living person could give part of their liver to a child. The odds were almost impossible. It usually required family. But Maya didn't stop. She booked a secret appointment for tests. She told the nurse she was doing it for someone very special. Days later, Maya sat in a cold clinic, holding a white envelope with trembling hands. Her name was printed neatly on the front. Inside lay the results that could change everything, or destroy her completely. She opened it, her eyes racing over numbers she didn't understand. Then the doctor walked in, looked her in the eyes, and calmly spoke the words that would flip her world upside down. Sophia was a perfect match. The right blood type, the right enzymes, everything lined up like fate itself. She sat frozen, the paper trembling in her hands, unable to believe what she was reading. Tears blurred her vision as the doctor explained how rare this was, especially between people with no blood relation. But the truth was undeniable. Her liver could save Maya. The risk didn't frighten her. The thought of losing Maya without fighting did. Clutching the results to her chest, Sophia left the clinic, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. But questions clawed at her mind. She was just a housekeeper. Would they even let her donate? Would Daniel ever agree? Would the doctors even allow it? A cold voice inside whispered about rules, laws, and procedures. But Sophia had something stronger: love. She didn't see Maya as her employer's daughter anymore. That little girl was hers in every way that mattered. Sitting alone in her small room, Sophia thought about every moment: Maya's first steps, her late-night fevers, her soft cries in the dark. That wasn't just a job. That was motherhood. And now, fate had handed her one impossible chance to prove it. She decided she wouldn't wait for anyone's approval. If Daniel said no, so be it. If the hospital shut her out, she would keep fighting. Sophia walked into the hospital with trembling hands, clutching the envelope like it was her last weapon. In a small office, she told the doctors everything: how she had secretly gotten tested, how Maya had grown up in her arms, how she was ready to sacrifice her body to save her child. But before she could finish, they cut her off. Rules, policies, legal guardianship, none of it allowed a woman like her to give life to a child that wasn't legally hers. Her pleas didn't matter. Her love didn't matter. Their answer was final. No. Sophia walked out shattered, her tears burning as she clutched the papers. That night she told Daniel everything. For a long moment he was silent. Then his face broke, and his voice cracked as he whispered, "Don't ever suggest this again. Maya needs you alive. I already lost my wife. I can't lose you too." His fear was real, but Sophia saw it for what it was. He was a broken man, scared of losing again. But she wasn't scared. Not anymore. She knew the truth. Maya was her daughter, blood or no blood. And mothers don't quit. Mothers fight. So, Sophia made a secret vow. If the hospital wouldn't help her here, she would go where someone would. That night she opened her old laptop and began searching. Hours slipped by as she typed desperate words. Living donor liver transplant, no legal family, urgent pediatric cases. Just before dawn, she found a hospital overseas, one that accepted impossible cases. With shaking hands, she sent her results and a letter begging them to give Maya a chance. She expected silence. Instead, the very next morning, a reply came. The doctor's name was Dr. Salem. He wanted to speak with her directly. Sophia's hands shook as she balanced her old phone on a stack of books and connected the call. His face appeared, kind, calm, but with eyes heavy with pain. He listened quietly as she explained everything. Then he told her something that stopped her cold. Years ago, he had lost his own daughter to liver disease. She died waiting for a donor that never came. Since then, he had sworn never to turn away another child if hope was possible. "If you're willing to risk it," he said gently, "I will help you. No matter your status, no matter the rules." Sophia didn't hesitate. She agreed instantly. She didn't care about money, paperwork, or danger. All she cared about was Maya's heartbeat. With Daniel away on an overseas business trip, Sophia knew this was her one chance. Quietly, she packed 2 bags, one for herself, one for Maya. She told the household staff she was taking Maya for a private medical checkup. No one suspected anything. By nightfall, she and Maya were on a plane, a trusted nurse helping her along the way. The journey felt endless, but Sophia never let go of Maya's hand. When they landed, Dr. Salem's team was waiting. Under false names, they were rushed into a private wing of the hospital. Exams were done quickly, the transplant scheduled for the very next morning. That night, Sophia sat beside Maya's bed, brushing her hair with trembling fingers. Maya smiled weakly, not fully understanding. "Don't worry, baby," Sophia whispered. "Mommy's going to fix this." Before dawn, she slipped a letter under Maya's pillow. It said, "If I don't wake up, know that Mommy said yes." Morning came. The halls were silent. 2 operating rooms were prepared side by side. Sophia was led into one, Maya into the other. Dr. Salem stood ready, his eyes heavy with both skill and sorrow. The surgery began. Blades moved, blood flowed, and every second mattered. Hours slipped away in silence. Thousands of miles away, Daniel's phone rang during a meeting. An unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something told him to answer. The voice on the line froze his blood. "Your daughter is in surgery." He dropped everything. Booked the first flight. He didn't care about cost or time. All he could think about was Maya and Sophia. By the time he reached the hospital, the surgery had just ended. His heart pounded as he rushed into the ICU. And then he saw it. 2 beds. One held Maya, tiny but alive, her heartbeat steady. The other held Sophia, pale and unconscious, but breathing. Machines beeped softly. Daniel stood between them, tears burning down his face. For the first time in his life, he understood what real sacrifice looked like. The doctors confirmed. The transplant was successful. Maya's fever had broken. Her body was accepting the new liver. Sophia's condition was fragile but stable. Daniel sat for hours between the two, holding both their hands, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. Later, he found Sophia's letter, the one under Maya's pillow. His hands shook as he read, "If I don't wake up, know that Mommy said yes." He broke down, finally seeing what he had been blind to all along. Sophia wasn't just a caretaker. She wasn't just help. She was Maya's mother, written not in blood, but in sacrifice. Word spread quickly through the hospital. A woman had given part of her liver to a child she didn't even give birth to. A caregiver who had become far more than family. Nurses whispered about it in the halls, some wiping tears as they changed shifts. Even the doctors, so used to charts, statistics, and grim outcomes, quietly admitted they had witnessed something beyond medicine. Not just a rare case, but an act of pure love and sacrifice. Maya was getting stronger by the day. She nibbled on small meals, tried to sit up, and even let out a laugh when a nurse crossed her eyes to make her smile. But every single morning and every single night she asked the same question. "Is Sophia awake yet?" Daniel promised he'd tell her the second it happened. He kept vigil between their rooms, waiting for the second miracle, the child who survived, and the woman who made it possible. Slowly the air shifted. The place that once carried despair now felt like the beginning of something new. Maya's body was healing at a pace no one expected. Her liver was working beautifully. She was on her way back to life. And though Sophia remained in a coma, her vital signs were strong, steady, her body fighting hard. Hope began to grow. Nurses and doctors no longer looked at Daniel as just a powerful man with money. They saw a father bound to a woman who gave everything, and a child who refused to give up. The three of them weren't just patients and guardians anymore. They had become a story. A story of love, sacrifice, and impossible second chances. And then, 5 days after the surgery, the hospital walls trembled with joy. Sophia's eyelids fluttered. Slowly, painfully, she opened her eyes. At first, she was confused, blinking against the light, hearing only the steady beeping of the monitors. Her head felt heavy, her body weak. But when her vision cleared, the first sight she saw nearly stopped her heart. Maya, standing at her bedside, wearing a silly paper crown from the children's ward, her smile as bright as the sun. "Mommy number 2, she cried, "you saved me." "I'm alive!" Tears spilled down Sophia's face. No words would come, only sobs too heavy to hold back. Nurses rushed in, checking her vitals, adjusting lines, reminding her to stay calm. But the moment had already passed into something sacred. After fear, after sacrifice, after the edge of death, here they both were. Alive, together. The doctors explained everything gently. The transplant had gone as well as anyone could hope. Sophia needed rest, but she was stable. Maya had spent every day by her side, telling her stories, drawing her pictures, even falling asleep in a chair while holding her hand. Now, finally, she had what she prayed for, Sophia awake, alive, still here. Maya clutched Sophia's weak hand with both of her tiny ones, refusing to let go. And then came another twist no one expected. New test results showed something remarkable. The cancer that once raced through Maya's body was shrinking. Her new liver wasn't just functioning. It was helping the treatment finally fight back. For the first time, the doctors didn't talk about death. They talked about hope. That evening, Daniel entered Sophia's room holding something precious, the letter she had written before the surgery. It was wrinkled from being read over and over, but he couldn't put it down. His voice shook as he said, "You saved the only person who gave me a reason to keep breathing. I don't know how to thank you." Sophia's eyes filled again, but she didn't need thanks. She never did it for recognition. She did it because she was a mother in every way that mattered. Daniel stayed by her side for hours, not as a boss, not as a billionaire, but as a father, speaking softly about the future, about healing, about what could come next. And while the hospital buzzed with gossip, the world outside soon caught wind of what had happened. First it was whispers among nurses, then a local reporter. Soon, headlines everywhere. The nanny who gave her liver to save a child. News outlets swarmed the hospital. Cameras waited outside. Requests for interviews poured in. But Sophia wanted none of it. She told the staff the same thing each time. "I don't want fame. I just want her alive." Inside, though, the atmosphere had transformed. People peeked into Sophia's room with admiration. Nurses smiled more. Doctors lingered a little longer. Hope was contagious. For Sophia, only one thing mattered: watching Maya laugh, eat, and draw with her crayons, color returning to her cheeks day by day. Outside the hospital, her story exploded. Television anchors called her brave. Global foundations praised her as an icon of love and sacrifice. Artists painted her image. Social media named her a hero. Conferences cited her as proof that compassion should shape medical law. Governments launched investigations into why she had been denied as a donor in the first place. Hospital policies started to change. For once, the system was forced to see what Sophia had proven. Sometimes love is stronger than blood. But Sophia stayed out of the spotlight. She refused award ceremonies, turned down interviews, declined every chance at fame. When asked why, her answer never changed. Maya's alive. That's all I need. Life slowly returned to normal. Sophia healed, though scars remained. She spent her days walking with Maya, playing board games, painting silly pictures, and savoring each new sign of health. Maya's strength grew, her appetite returned. Her laughter filled every corner of the home. Daniel changed too. The man once consumed by business stayed close to his daughter, closer than ever before. The mansion that once felt cold became warm, alive again. And still, Sophia wanted nothing from the world, only the title Maya gave her, Mommy Number 2. That was the only crown she ever needed. 1 year later, the house glowed with balloons, streamers, and laughter. A birthday cake topped with a bright number 7 candle stood on the table. Maya, dressed in a yellow gown and paper crown, blew out the candles as cheers filled the room. Daniel filmed proudly from the corner, his face softer than ever. But Sophia stood right beside Maya, holding her hand, her eyes wet with joy. The past year had been hard, painful, terrifying. But now, watching Maya laugh and run with friends, it all felt worth it. Later, Maya paused mid-play, looked at Sophia, and asked softly, Mommy Number 2? Now I really get to live, right? Sophia bent down, pressed her forehead to Maya's, and whispered with a smile, Yes, my love. You are going to live. Maya's hug was tight, her joy uncontainable. Around them, balloons bounced, kids shouted, and music played. But that quiet promise meant everything. On a shelf nearby, framed in wood, sat Sophia's old letter. If I don't wake up, know that Mommy said yes. It wasn't there for attention. It was there as truth. Proof that family is not made by law or blood, but by love and sacrifice. That letter became their reminder every single day that the strongest love doesn't need an audience. It only needs to be lived, and so, in that home filled with laughter and light, Sophia finally felt complete. She didn't need medals, headlines, or fame. She already had her miracle, Maya's heartbeat, Maya's laughter, Maya's future. The fight had been worth every scar, every tear, every sleepless night. Because when Maya asked if she would live, Sophia's answer had become the truth. Yes, you will live. And with that, their story was no longer one of tragedy. It was a story of survival, a story of love, a story that would live forever. If you were that billionaire and your child had only months left, would you trust the Black Maid? Tell me in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Black Nation Strength for more powerful stories.